Hey everyone, it has come to my attention that people have vague ideas about who the Roaring Knight might be from Deltarune Chapter 3, since there has been quite an uproar within the fandom's theories and opinions. I'd like to share my own personal 2 cents on the idea. Since the chapter's release, various hints have been given throughout the game, scattered for the player to find and connect. Players come with the question, what purpose does the Roaring Knight serve? And who is the Roaring Knight? Well, sit down. I'm here to answer that question for you. First published in 2019, Zodiac Academy: The Awakening is a book series by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti. Why is this important? Toby Fox had started working on Deltarune Chapter 2 during the same year. Well, what does this mean? This means that Toby Fox had started working on Deltarune Chapter 2 during the same year. In Deltarune, the word awakening seems to have a keen symbol in the game. This was prominently seen in Chapter 2 as both Chris and Noelle go through a process of awakening, where Chris awakens themselves by resisting the soul's control, and Noelle awakens herself with the influence of Queen and the Snowgrave route itself. Why is this relevant? It has been brought to my attention with how both series center around a magical world and the idea of possible awakenings, where the protagonists gain strength and new profound knowledge after their personal breakthroughs, which is shown in both series. Now that we have that covered, let's get back to the talk of the show today. Roaring Knight, and whose identity it belongs to. Roaring Knight is an antagonist that the main cast must fight against in Deltarune Chapter 3, the sequel to the previous Chapter 2. When Chris attacks the Roaring Knight, their attacks deal less damage in the same way where the Knight's attacks deal significantly less damage to Chris in comparison to the rest of the cast. Now, why is this significant? This is because Roaring Knight is the same character as Rory Knight from Zodiac Academy: The Awakening. Well, first off, they have the same name, spelled differently. Now, you might be thinking, what relevance does this book have with fucking Deltarune? Because you know what book Rory Knight is from? That's right, Zodiac Academy. Both characters have coexisted during 2019, meaning they have more similarities than just their name alone. Rory Knight had sacrificed himself for the rest of his friends, getting captured to stop them from sharing the same fate. And you know what place he was sent into for punishment? Ladies and gentlemen, he was sent into the Darkmoor Penitentiary, serving a 25-year sentence. This is parallel to how the Roaring Knight from Deltarune keeps opening dark fountains. And now here's a clip of Chris opening a dark fountain themselves. Hold up! 25. Doesn't that sound familiar? Now then, keep in mind the numbers 1225. Christmas Day, December 25. And tell me, who exactly is associated with those numbers? That's right, Noelle Holiday from Deltarune from Toby's Fox. Now let that fucking sink in.